Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 30. Kapila and his teachings. After Kardama went away to the forest, bent on sannyasa, the young son Kapila stayed in the ashrama on the banks of the picturesque lake Bindusaras with his mother. Days passed. Devahuti remembered the words of Brahma. My dear daughter, Lord Narayana desires to teach the world Brahma Vidya, and hence he has decided to be born as your son. He will teach you the Brahma Vidya, which will rid you of avidya, ignorance, which is the cause of pain in this world. Devahuti saw her son sitting all by himself and went to him. She said, You are my son, and I know you are Lord Narayana. I am asking you to help me. I am tired of this life which I have spent in gratifying the senses. You are the sun which has risen to dispel the darkness from the minds of ordinary people like me. I have the great good fortune to be the mother of the Lord. Tell me what I want to know. In the body made up of the 5 elements, you have instilled the feelings of I and mine. You have it susceptible to the several emotions like love and hatred. And this evil of ignorance has been drawn across the Atman by you and you alone. It is up to you to remove it and save us. Teach me the path to peace. Teach me the path of mukti, salvation. Tell me about your nature. Purusha and Prakriti are both you, and if I learn about them, they say, I will find freedom from the bondage of births and deaths. Kapila's face was lit up by a smile of pure affection, and he looked at his mother. He said, I will tell you. In my opinion, there is only one yoga which will entirely destroy the pains and pleasures which are the resultants of samsara. I taught this yoga to the rishis of yore when they were eager to learn it. I will teach you the same yoga now. I will, however, make the lesson easier for you. Anyone can understand this path to salvation. Mother, it is the mind which is the cause of bondage as well as freedom. Consider the mind. When it gets involved in the 3 gunas, when there is an upset in the balance of the 3 gunas, then one of the gunas becomes predominant and the Atman gets involved in the play of the emotions. The mind turns away from the inner self and begins to be interested in the objects of the senses. It seeks gratification from them and it wanders farther and farther away from the Atman. This same mind, if it is turned inwards, if it attaches itself to the Purusha, the Lord, Ishvara, Narayana, then this same mind will be the cause of freedom of man from the coils of the senses. This path is called by the name Chitta Sanyamana, and it is the first step towards the goal. When the feelings of I and mine disappear, the mind at once becomes free of kama, krodha, and other qualities. It becomes pure and is fit enough to lead you to me. The pleasures of the world and the pains will not affect it anymore. When it is equipped with vairagya, detachment, or rather non attachment, with bhakti, which is devotion to me, and with jnana, which is knowledge of the truth about me, then the mind is able to perceive the Brahman. Of all the paths to me, Mother, bhakti is the easiest and surest. There is no other path which grants you freedom as quickly as the path of devotion. The wise say the Sangha, attachment, is the one imperishable quality which is inherent in man. When it is imperishable, when it is evergreen, without any possibility of getting destroyed, obviously it cannot be ignored. Mother, attachment is always there. The way to salvation is to use this same Sangha as an instrument. Let the attachment be there by all means. Only do not feed it with the usual sense objects. Change the object of desire, of attachment. You have been attached to the things of the world. Let the attachment remain, but make the object different. In place of the worldly objects, substitute Narayana. Attachment to Narayana makes the ties to other things snap, and the way is easy. This process of transferring the attachment from the lower to the higher will naturally be a gradual process. It is not possible to abandon the one and adopt the other all of a sudden. The mind will refuse to cooperate. The ultimate aim should be to be called a Mukta Sangha. The best method of schooling the mind to follow this path is to have the company of sadhus. When the mind becomes attached to the company of sadhus, it would have abandoned the earlier attractions and the next step is made easy. How can the mind be led towards thoughts of the Lord? It is easier than it seems. As I said before, Kama, Lobha, the feelings of I and mine are the impurities which cloud the mind, turn it away from its goal, and make it cling to the objects of the senses. A mind free of the impurities, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya, will naturally turn towards the Lord. Once this is achieved, once you are a Mukta Sangha, you should now spend your time in Sat Sangha, the company of sadhus. Attachment, the evergreen body which ties you down, should be for sadhus. Who are the sadhus? What are their characteristics? How can they be recognized? I will tell you. The sufferings, the ills and pains that the physical body is heir to do not affect the sadhus. They are full of compassion for all men. All living beings are, to them, their kinsmen. They love all beings. Naturally, they have no enemies. They are at peace with themselves. Their minds are clear and tranquil without agitations. And they never swerve from the path of righteousness. Their conduct is ever flawless, and their thoughts float towards me and only towards me. They have no other duties, obligations, relations, no other claims on their affections or thoughts. They are interested only in stories about me, and they are happy when they relate these stories to others. The troubles of the world are no troubles for them because they refuse to be affected by them. They are free from attachment, and such people are called sadhus. Mother, pray that your mind becomes attached to these people. They are capable of helping you to break away from other attachments. Constant company of sadhus makes you familiar with the stories about me, stories which please the ears and which gladden the heart. Pleasure in these stories leads to a constant interest in me, and this interest becomes finally enjoyment, meaning you will enjoy thinking on me and only on me. This enjoyment will then become bhakti, devotion to me. Satsanga leads to Shraddha, this to Rati, and Rati leads to Bhakti. Because of the Bhakti you develop for me, the mind becomes slowly, gradually, but surely disgusted with the sense objects. The things of the world which were once attractive are no longer so. The pleasures which you once enjoyed cease to please you. The mind becomes keen on discovering methods by which it can be focused steadily on the Lord. The emancipated man tries very earnestly for salvation. He has no taste for the snare which nature casts about him, and his intellect becomes sharp and keen. This is because of the non-attachment to the senses and the objects of the senses. Surrendering himself entirely to me, he becomes one with me even in this bondage-ridden birth. Devahuti was listening intently. She now intervened and said, "Tell me how an ignorant woman like me, one who has not studied the Vedas or learnt the many truths which the wise have learnt, how can I reach you? Which is the easiest path which leads to you?" "Bhakti," said Kapila. "It is Bhakti Yoga which will help you. Whether it be the senses which are involved in the world of objects, whether it be the mind which is involved in the daily duties and actions dictated by the Vedas, the only path which will free both of these from the particular fields in which they are engaged is a sincere and spontaneous desire for the attainment of salvation. This desire will be granted by an effortless devotion to Narayana. This devotion will burn away the bondage of karma and the bondage created by the senses, like the fire in the body burns up the food which is eaten. Bhakti will not only grant you oneness with the Lord, but it will also free you from the world of objects. Mukti, release, will follow as a matter of course when you become a pilgrim in the path of bhakti. Sadhus who think only of serving me, who are attached only to me, who perform actions to please only me, who talk nothing but my stories, such people do not desire even to get salvation. They are so happy with the thoughts of me. In their minds, they see my form always, and so, whether they ask for it or not, I grant them mukti. Lost as they are in thoughts of me, they are not attracted by the glories of the heavenly worlds. But still, I grant them all that since they are entitled to them. My bhaktas will never be destroyed. The wheel of time, which is my formidable weapon, is powerless as far as they are concerned, since they become one with me. I am everything to a bhakta. I am dear to him as a son is, his confidant like a friend is, his instructor, his well-wisher, his beloved. My bhaktas have no fear of anything, since everything in this universe is under my sway. It is in fear of me that the wind blows. Fear of me makes the sun shine. Parjanya rains from the heavens because he stands in fear of me. The fire burns and Yama keeps a watchful eye on everything, all because I have appointed them to do so. But yogis who have conquered the world of the senses are afraid of nothing, and they reach me without any doubt.